everybody. Good morning and glad you are with us here on a Wednesday, Iron Bowl week. Thanksgiving is tomorrow, and we got a lot to discuss today on Longshore and McKnight. I'm John Longshore. He's Barry McKnight. And what about the round ball last night, Barry? Woo,
Yeah.
man.
Gosh, it is Iron Bowl week, and we have had in our generational association with each other a lot of big Iron Bowl weeks. This doesn't feel like it yet. Part of it is because, there's no conference championship at stake or there's no national championship implications. Part of it is because you're right. Basketball has been going great guns. Man, if you missed it last night, and I got to admit, most of you did, and I get it because the Auburn game didn't tip off until about 10:30 or so last night. But I got to start this final Wednesday show before Thanksgiving and getting ready for the Iron Bowl just raving about basketball. Man, if you missed it, Alabama, epic game against Houston, number 9 versus number 6, 85-80 the final there. The Stars played like you expect them to play. Mark Sears had a great game. And then late last night, Janai Broome was phenomenal. Had a double-double, 19 rebounds. Auburn never trailed, and they beat Auburn's number 4 in the country. They beat number 12 North Carolina 85-72, and it felt like Auburn had control of that game really from the get-go. How about basketball in the SEC in this state right now? It was incredible.
It was a great night, and you're right. I don't know if it counts if you start watching the game and then you fall asleep, but the game's still on when you kind of wake up a little bit and watch a little, and then you fall back asleep a little bit, and then later on you just watch a little bit. And then about 3 o'clock when you get up to go to the bathroom, the game's not on anymore, but the TV is. Does that count that you watch the game?
That counts. Kinda? That counts. That's like the only philosophical thing. Does it count as reading a book if you listen to the audio book while you're driving? Yeah. Well, most of the time.
Auburn never trailed, had big double-digit leads, 18, 20-point leads. Broome was phenomenal. I mean, no doubt about it. This guy might be the best player in college basketball. He can get it all done. I've been very impressed. Said it a couple of weeks ago. Auburn looks really, really strong, really deep. They're going to be hard to beat. They look really, really good. Alabama, on the other hand, even though they win the game, Barry, it was an impressive win. They had a 7-8 point lead at about the 5-6 minute mark and let it evaporate. I mean, Houston's going on these 10-0 runs and whatnot. You're thinking, what's with this team? And anyway, got it to overtime and dominated in OT. The one thing about Alabama's game, Barry, and I don't know if I like this so much. I know it's different. I know this tournament they're playing in Vegas. There's NIL opportunities involved with the players. I think they tried to make it like a tournament atmosphere, an NCAA tournament atmosphere. I mean, Latrell Wrightsell was mic'd up. Allie LaForce is out there doing post-game interviews with the players. It just had a different feel to it. I'm thinking, I'm not thrilled about having players mic'd up. I mean,
I never have liked that. During a game, you need to be focused on the game. And I thought about that, and I was thinking about how, my creative mind was thinking about how they may not have had the technology, but back in the day, how they may have really missed a chance miking up John in church league basketball. Although it probably would have been pretty boring, to be honest with you. You would have heard 3 words over and over again. Ball, 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 ball. And you would have heard foul, me, over and over and over again.
There was more elbowing, cheap shots, complaining, whining, arguing with the refs, and a little spicy language in church basketball than any other basketball I ever played.
No
I don't know what it's about.
No doubt. But yeah, you're right. And I get it. The only thing that concerns me is, and I love the student athletes and all that, but I don't want to see a ton of that. I hear there's some bad language, catting. No, that makes me a little bit nervous because I've seen the
I would think, Barry, from your broadcast location, you've probably seen and heard a lot.
heard a lot, believe me. Now, we already get this from JR on our River Region Straw text hotline. Longshore, Bama beat Houston by the same margin the Boogs did. The Boogs. Are we grown here? Anyway, the Boogs did, and you're griping. Come on, man. Be thankful. It's Thanksgiving. Sheesh.
Yeah, okay. I get you, JR.
Yeah.
I get you.
But,
I love my man JR from Lowndes County. First of all, I wasn't comparing.
Come on.
Not comparing.
And, they were different games.
Yes.
They were different games. Auburn was in control throughout. I don't know if North Carolina is as good as Houston. I don't think they are. But I was impressed with how Auburn, there was a little run to begin the second half, and that was about it. Auburn never trailed in that game. And to be totally transparent, they could probably still be playing right now, and I don't think North Carolina would ever have to lead. They just kept them at arm's length. Like Johnson, and maybe this, John, is the way Alabama plays. They're up and down, 94 feet the whole time. There are going to be some runs by the opposition just because they have more possessions, right?
Yeah.
So, it may be style of play as much as anything, but you're going to see that a lot from Alabama. I didn't even really think he was griping that much. I just thought he mentioned the fact that, Alabama had a lead and they lost it. Like, what are you griping about that for?
Yeah, I think JR is just trying to needle me early on a Wednesday. Love that
I think
guy.
that's it. And isn't it funny that it takes that to get us off the Iron Bowl, which has so much riding upon it, even if they're both 0-11 right now, which to Bama fans, there ain't a whole lot of difference in 8-3 and 0-11, if you be honest.
Not at all. Good to see Mark Sears get back in action. He had a great night last night. Wanted to just bring that up. Auburn plays Memphis at 4:00 this afternoon. So that's like 11 in the morning out on the islands. And Alabama has Rutgers at 9:00 tonight on TBS as a part of these tournaments. So some big basketball today. Hello to D-Rob, who's down in Lillian. I was there this weekend. I wish I was there now, D-Rob. It was beautiful. Have a great time.
Isn't that where Steve from Prattville lives now? Lillian, Alabama?
He might.
What is it about Lillian? Yeah.
It's a nice little community down there. So we don't want anybody to go, so let's don't talk about it. We want to keep it kind of, we don't want anybody to show up. So it's a great spot. So hello to everybody. Good morning. Appreciate it. Getting ready for Thanksgiving. How about the college football playoff poll last night?
Yeah. A lot of people around here, for whatever reason, didn't really pay much attention to it last night. And I don't know that there was a great deal of earth-shattering stuff involved in it. Not much,
Yeah, I think maybe where Alabama fans, where they saw their team land at first out that I see.
Which this is what you'll see, and we've talked about this before. This is what you'll see. This poll, Alabama is number 13 in the poll, which again, that doesn't necessarily mean seeding, but it does provide this. Here's, we knew this whenever we expanded the playoff, and we were before then when we were just talking about it. We knew, John kept saying, just think, you'll have so many teams now more in the conversation. You lose a couple of games and you're still in, you can, it keeps the conversation going. Well, it also does this for those teams who, quite frankly, in my mind, don't deserve to be in, the 3-loss teams. You're starting to see articles and posts and social media that says, well, here's how Alabama can get it done. See, this needs to happen. Georgia needs to lose against Georgia Tech big. Texas needs to lose to Texas A&M big, and see if that happens. And if we beat Auburn, I'm sorry, JR, if we beat the Boogs big, then there's a path to it for us. This is, again, you'll see teams that say, hey, man, we're in. Boy, I know we lost those 2 games, but we're in, and it keeps everybody energized. But unfortunately, it also gives some people a little bit of false hope.
I think it does. I'm with you there. And I believe it's one of the topics on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel today about some 3-loss teams. I think there's one, Barry, that nobody's talking about. I don't want to kind of give it away, but I think too many things have got to happen. I'm not sure Alabama's even worthy. I mean, I don't know how these formulas work in these committees when they get together. But you lose to Vanderbilt, who's maybe 1 game over 500. You lose to Oklahoma, who's 1 game over 500.
Yeah, 2 5-loss teams.
Yeah, and then you beat an LSU team that's not any good. I mean, let's face it, they're not that great. And we learned that after Alabama went down to Baton Rouge and beat them. I'm just not sure Alabama's resume is that great. I mean, okay, they beat Georgia, had to hold on to do that. They beat Missouri without their best player on the field most of the time. So there again, I just don't think they're really worthy of that. And I don't think Bama fans should be getting all excited and worked up about it.
Here's what makes their resume look good to a lot of the people on the committee and a lot of the viewers who would be watching it. This is what makes Alabama's letterhead Alabama's resume looks good, is they've got that script A at the top. And they've got that Wayne Atchison stuff at the bottom. National champions 1944, 1947, That's what makes their resume look good, is that they're Alabama, right? Well, right now they're number 13. There's no real – the only real substantive change is Indiana dropped. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4. Those are the top 4. Again, those aren't the ones who will get the buys, but those are the top 4 rated right now. Notre Dame 5, Miami 6, Georgia 7. Georgia is the highest rated 2-loss team. Then Tennessee 8, SMU 9. SMU is 10-1 under former Auburn offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley. If Freeze, I'll go ahead and say it, poops the bed next year.
Yeah, poops the bed. Yeah.
Watch out for Rhett Lashley. People are going to start mentioning his name, although I don't know that he left Auburn with a great taste in his mouth.
I don't think he did either. As a matter of fact, I don't think many coaches that leave Auburn have a very good taste in their mouth.
But
you got to narrow that down a little bit more.
But they like getting out the letter opener twice a month.
Their back pocket's pretty thick.
Indiana drops from 5 to 10. Boise State is 11, and Clemson is number 12. Those Alabama 13, then Ole Miss and South Carolina. So
I wouldn't get my hopes up. Barry, what do you say we take a quick break? I know Jason Caldwell from Auburn Undercover is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Rodney Orr at the top of the next hour. CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News in the next hour as well. I know you're thinking, wait a minute, is it Thursday? Well, kind of, but tomorrow we won't be on the air because it is Thanksgiving, and these gentlemen were nice enough to come on a little earlier this week, so we're going to get into them. But when we get back, Barry, I've got a question for you and for our viewing and listening audience, and I want them to participate on our River Region Straw chat line. I've been thinking about this over the last couple of days, and I wanted to put it on the table for everybody out there when we get back. So put your thinking caps on, because you're going to have to maybe think a little bit about a question that I'm going to ask when we return.
That's coming up as well. Quickly, I know people have been tracking this. Last night in Maction, Buffalo playing at home beats Kent State 43-7. Kent State becomes the first team since 2019 to go 0-12, and they had 2 games all year that they kept within 21 points.
Man.
So
you think those kids were ready for that season to get over?
You got that right. Can we have a running clock in the second half? Akron beats Toledo last night. It's great to have you with us here. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's in cooperation with Yellowhammer News, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car, or maybe a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram? Well, in Prattville, it's always a process that starts with the team of professionals from Stiver CDJR. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it's safe to say that Stiver's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But hey, just don't take my word for it. Experience the Stiver's difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stiver's CDJR, where price sells cars and trucks on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville.
Welcome to the holidays. They're officially here. Time for tradition, family gatherings, meals, and the annual scramble of searching for those last-minute gifts. Speaking of gifts, this season Budweiser's got your back. Head to the store right now and look for our Thanksgiving week specials. Why go all over town looking for that perfect gift when Budweiser takes care of everyone in one convenient ice-cold package? When you stock up on Budweiser with our Thanksgiving week specials, you'll have plenty to share with your friends and family. They'll all appreciate that Budweiser's brewed the hard way and has been for 140 years. We use the finest barley, malt, and hops grown in Idaho and Germany. We don't take any shortcuts when we're brewing. That's our tradition. So make the most of your holidays. Stop by your local store now for our Thanksgiving week specials. Grab enough Budweiser for yourself, your friends, and your family. It's a new holiday tradition everyone can enjoy together. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Budweiser Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com. Okay, welcome back in, everybody. About 18 minutes past the hour on Longshore and McKnight on this Wednesday. Want to just let everybody know, and I can't tell you how excited and happy we are about our association with Yellowhammer News. You can check them out at yellowhammernews.com. They're on X, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. And, of course, there's a write-up about this program each and every afternoon that you can check out with video content as well. Also, on their Facebook page, there have been a lot of people watching the videos about this program. Just can't tell you how pleased we are with that. We had one yesterday afternoon that I'm told this morning has already had over 50,000 views. So we're very excited about that. And we also want to let you know there is a Longshore and McKnight Facebook page and Instagram. You can go to those, type in Longshore McKnight. You'll see our Facebook page. You'll see our Instagram. You can check out the videos there as well. I know the Instagram's been up for a while. The Facebook is still a little under construction, but it's there. It's operational. So we want you to go to it and friend it and like it and all that kind of stuff. And you'll see a lot of our content on that Facebook page as well. And we want to thank all of our friends and associates that are helping us with our video content, as well as audio and everything else. Of course, we're on Spotify. You can check that out. You know, it's good for people in their car who are walking, jogging, exercising. We get a lot of feedback on that.
Oh, yeah.
But really happy about people, finding us and spreading the word and making us a part of your day. We really appreciate that. All right, Barry, here's the question for you.
All right. What question do we have?
And I want our viewers and listeners to react via our River Region Straw chat line and as well as our email address, longshoremcknight@gmail.com. If I would have asked you this maybe 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, I think your reaction as well as our viewers and listeners would have been different. I know mine would have been. But I was thinking about this earlier in the week, and the more I thought about it, I thought, I think these two teams are closer than maybe people think they might be. I know Alabama's an 11.5 point favorite in this game coming up Saturday afternoon, but very particularly skill position players. I'm going to break it down to skill position players, and not to kind of dump on the offensive and defensive linemen, but, you guys are kind of the rough and tumble, the big uglies, they call them for some reason. I don't know why they do that.
There's some good-looking linemen out there.
There's some good-looking linemen.
There's some ugly skill position players.
Good point. You're right. But let's start with skill position players.
Right.
Whose are better, Auburn or Alabama's? Who's got the better skill position players? You can say offense and defense. Okay. Quarterback, running back, wide receivers, defensive backs. Who's are better?
I think Auburn has the better running back. I think quarterback-wise, it's hard to tell. I think Milroe's better. I do. He's capable of more. Thorne is not a game breaker. Wide receivers, I think the best wide receiver on the field will be Ryan Williams, but Auburn's receivers as a group have really come on. I like Auburn's tight end. Defensively, Auburn's defensive backs, pretty doggone good. Alabama's linebackers, Alabama's defensive line. It is a lot closer than I thought. I think Alabama's a better team. Sometimes people get caught up in, I love this article from Michael Bronner at Yellowhammer News in the Auburn Corner. He says Freeze has a chance to be forgiven for an entire bad 2 years. I think Auburn's got a lot more to play for than Alabama does. But, I don't get caught up in all that other stuff. Alabama's a better team. Alabama should win that game. They're playing at home. They're more talented, But, Auburn's got a lot more to play for. To Alabama people, 8-4 is not a whole lot different from 9-3. For Auburn, 6-6 is a whole lot better than 5-7. So there's a lot of different factors.
I think Alabama's depth might be a better.
Yeah.
I think they've got more skill position players, more, difference makers, if you will. But the guys that are going to be on the field the majority of the time, Peyton Thorne, 175 out of 276 throwing the football, a little over 2,400 yards, 20 TDs, 8 interceptions. Milroe, 171 out of 263 for 2,396, 15 TDs, 9 interceptions. Throw one more pick than Peyton Thorne, and all we hear about is all the interceptions that Thorne's thrown. Now, granted, Milroe threw 3 last week. That certainly inflated his numbers.
Yeah.
So Peyton Thorne has proven that he can throw the football. He's proven he can run the football. Milroe's an athletic player when he wants to be. Alabama has 0 running game. There's no doubt about it.
Which is a shocker
0
to me.
You look at the stats, and I'm not a big stat guy, but those guys don't even show up.
It's the biggest surprise on this Alabama team this year. Yep. They do not run the football. And you bring that up, and, people have preconceived notions. Oh, Milroe this, Milroe that. He's capable of more. Ty Edwards says on our chat line, have you seen the head-to-head stats for Thorne versus Milroe? John just read a bunch of them out. Thorne is actually better from a stat perspective, but I agree with you, Barry, that Milroe is a better quarterback. He is capable of more. One of John's favorite stats, and he's not a stat guy, one of John's favorite stats as it's related historically to Auburn quarterbacks is quarterback rating.
Oh, yeah.
He's like me. He doesn't know what it means or how, or what goes into it and all that. But he used to track week by week Bo Nix's quarterback rating like a hawk. And when he was at Auburn, it was not very good. When he was at Oregon, it was like top 5 in the country.
And he's about to be the NFL Rookie of the Year. I mean, can I get a little love from the Bo Nix family? Beating that drum when he was down in the 80s, and now he's tearing it up for the Broncos. Love it.
The quarterback rating among SEC quarterbacks right now, the leader is Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, although he came back to the field a little bit with those interceptions against Florida. The number 3 quarterback in the SEC in quarterback rating is Peyton Thorne, ahead of Quinn Ewers, ahead of Nico Iamaleava, ahead of Jalen Milroe, who is ahead of Carson Beck, ahead of Diego Pavia. Peyton Thorne has the 3rd highest quarterback rating in the SEC.
So, yeah, I mean, there again, I just don't really see a lot of difference. There again, I see a big difference in the running back position. I don't see a big difference in the quarterback position. I don't see a big receiver. I mean, Cam Coleman's come on the scene the last couple of games. I see him.
Yeah.
And there again, can Alabama fans name another receiver besides
Ryan Williams?
I mean, that's the only one they ever target. I mean, Jeremy Bernard gets a couple of catches every now and then, but you just don't see that wide receiving group being 2 or 3 deep that, every defense has got to worry about. The tight ends, we've talked about that. I think Auburn definitely has the advantage there. I think Auburn's offensive line plays, we getting away from skill position, has gotten better as well. Alabama's at times can be hot and cold, same with the defensive line. And I know probably the defensive line's an area that I'm going to be looking at closely with both of these teams on Saturday afternoon. But, skill positions, I don't see a lot of difference. And I see Auburn, in my mind, I think Auburn's got a little advantage. When you're talking quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight ends, I think Auburn's got the advantage there.
And again, they've got more to play for, to be honest with you. If Alabama wins it, maybe the Gator Bowl. If they lose it, Liberty Bowl, something like that. Bama fans see no difference there. If Auburn, I guarantee you, if Auburn wins it, their fans are going to go to the bowl game a lot more than Alabama fans would go to a bowl game.
I'm not laughing because it's the Gator Bowl and the Liberty Bowl. I'm just laughing at the fact that how many empty seats are going to be there. Because I promise you, Bama fan ain't going to those games. Now, you're going to have the diehards.
Fan is.
Yeah, you're going to have a couple of diehards that show up that have got to continue the record of continuous Bama games attended and stuff like that. But, you can get all the tickets you want. Not a problem. Not even thinking about it. Maybe that's not the right thing, but it's a different day and age in college football. And I think there's some fan bases out there will have the mentality of, well, dadgummit, if you're not going to get me to the championship and to the playoff, then I'm done with you.
The heck with you. Well, now this from Robbie from Greenville, who is up, and he's commenting on the college football playoff ratings right now. Alabama, number 13 at 8-3. Robbie says, the College Football Playoff Committee is not rewarding teams for playing a difficult schedule. Most of the teams in the top 12 is 51 or worse in strength of schedule.
Man.
Yeah, but Robbie, they've won the games. Here's what Ward Manuel is the AD at Michigan. He is the College Football Playoff Selection Committee chairman. He was asked a question about Alabama, why they're the top 3-loss team. And Manuel explained because of their win over Georgia. I mean, that's it. If they hadn't had that 74-yard touchdown to Ryan Williams in the last minute, they'd be down around the Kansas State, Illinois, UNLV territory.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you.
He says, they won against Missouri. They've beaten South Carolina. They won at LSU in dominant fashion. When you put those 4 wins against Mississippi and what they did, they had the win against Georgia and the win at South Carolina, but they had a tough loss to Florida, loss to LSU. in overtime. They're giving credit.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
For Alabama playing the tough schedule. But you got to win those games, Robbie, you know?
Oh, yeah. And Robbie, thank you so much for calling Lindsey Bonner at CBS 8 and complaining to her about me.
What?
He didn't like some of the stuff we've been saying on our show, so he let Lindsey know about it for a while. She thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, Robbie, but
of course, yeah.
I mean, if you got a problem, talk to us. Don't talk to her. All right, when we come back, Jason Caldwell, Auburn undercover. He's going to break things down for us. Big win out in Hawaii last night. Iron Bowl coming up on Saturday. Of course, recruiting still going on. Signing day upcoming. Jason's going to break it all down for us on our City of Montgomery guest hotline.
When we come back, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Regions.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speed associated with our installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Both locations offer fully stocked pro shops with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com.
Already back at it here on this Wednesday. Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, joining us here this morning. A little day early. No, it's not Thursday. It is Wednesday, but Jason, nice enough to come on with us because we'll be celebrating Thanksgiving tomorrow. Hey, Jason.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Doing really well. I feel weird on the Iron Bowl week, not to ask you first about that, but man, that run for Auburn basketball, come from behind win on Monday and then felt in control all night and into the morning yesterday against North Carolina. I'm impressed as heck with them, Jason. You?
Yeah, no, if you'd, I was sitting there thinking, like, if you'd have told 25-year-old me, heck, if you'd have told me 10 years ago that we'd be watching a top 5 Auburn team beat North Carolina in the Maui Invitational, get to the championship game, and it wouldn't be a surprise, I said, there's no chance. That's not happening. And that's where we are. Look at this state and what they're doing in basketball right now. And it's pretty amazing to watch and to see just the success. And another quality game for them. Had to survive. You played a top 5 team 2 nights ago and a really good Iowa State team, and you didn't play great, but you find a way to win. And then last night, pretty much in control of that game all night long. And they'll have to play a Memphis team that's had 2 pretty big wins, UConn and Michigan State on back-to-back nights. And you got to do it quick. This is I mean, this is an AAU turnaround right here. When you go from playing, 10, 11 o'clock to now playing at 4 o'clock today. I mean, it's a really, really quick turnaround for this team. They got depth, but I won't be surprised if they're a little sluggish when they come out of there today, because that's going to be pretty quick.
Yeah, it is a quick turnaround. 4 o'clock game later this afternoon on ESPN. You can check that out. I'm just, Jason, Janai Broome had an unbelievable game last night. I mean, this guy's just the most dominant player on the floor. I think he's the best player in college basketball that I've seen so far. That, and you throw in the fact that, to me, this team plays so well together. The guys that are coming off the bench, you don't skip a beat. Just really a lot of camaraderie, and you can see a lot of unity in this team, and they certainly show it on the floor.
Yeah, I think it's a credit to this coaching staff, because it's hard to do that in this world today, where you're adding transfers, you're adding guys, and there may be more talented teams from 1 to 10 in terms of just potential NBA talent, but you're right. There's more to that. There's more important things. You got to be good enough to go win, but you also have to, again, play together. Understand you have to be selfless to play on a team like this, and to go, hey, I may not score 25 a night. I think that's where Miles Kelly's been important. A guy, he put up a ton of shots at Georgia Tech, but he wanted to win, and so he's like, hey, I'm gonna go to a place I can win. I may not get those shots every night, but he came up with some big shots last night. And so you start looking at that, and having a guy in Janai Broome that is old school basketball. Now, he can step out and make threes, but that guy has post moves, and nobody does that anymore. I mean, now you turn around and try to get there and see if you can dunk or do some things, but you have a guy that understands how to play in the paint. It's a massive advantage, and we've seen that the last couple of years.
It's just funny to me that, and Alabama's doing what they're doing, very impressive as well, that the two best players, two All-Americans, I mean, Janai Broome was at Morehead State before they plucked him out. Mark Sears was at Ohio. The transfer portal is not just the big names out there. It's really interesting to see how much talent there really is all over the country at every level, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, just think about potential Heisman Trophy guys in football. You think about these guys at Boise State right now.
Yeah.
Think about who's playing quarterback at Miami, and where that guy started. Guy started at Incarnate Word. I mean, it shows you, though, how important development is, and we've seen it historically. I mean, you look at the NFL, and the Hall of Fame is littered with guys that came from small schools, whether it's Walter Payton or whether it's, it's a huge
DeMarcus Ware.
It's smaller schools than Troy. There's a bunch of them. I mean, you think about the Texas A&I guys and all these guys but you look at basketball and football now, and it's become a training ground for guys like that. And I honestly believe, people have talked about basketball, especially because Auburn's going to have to sign 9 or 10 guys, and they're going, you start looking at recruiting classes and all these things, and you go, look, the Kentuckys of the world and the Dukes of the world have not had massive success in signing 5 or 6 5-star guys and throwing them on the court and going, hey, now go win. You'll be really talented, but you're not going to win the ultimate champion. Older teams are going to do that. And to get older teams, you go get guys, and it may be a guy that, like Janai Broome, who was a guard, 6 years ago in high school, and has grown and matured and gotten more physical and all these things, or a guy like Mark Sears, who just I'm gonna keep grinding. And the guy now is such a veteran. You leave him open, he makes a shot. Well, it's hard for a young, true freshman guy to be able to be prepared for what that's like. And these transfer guys have opened a different door.
Boy, have they. It's been fun. I don't believe we've talked so much about basketball in the month of November in the 30 years Barry and I've been together. It's quite it's a nice change of pace, I will say. Talking about a change of pace, Jason, I asked Barry earlier in the show and our audience to chime in on it. Who's got the better players when it comes to skill positions between Auburn and Alabama? Quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight ends. I find it to be extremely close, and I went as far as to say I think Auburn's got the better position players at tight end, at running back, and I wouldn't be surprised at quarterback either.
Yeah, that's the one spot where you can close the gap quicker in football. We talk about basketball. Basketball, you get a guy and you can throw them in there, and they're going to be prepared to go. From a football standpoint, when you grab transfers, you can grab a Keandre Lambert-Smith and go, that guy's ready to go.
Right.
You can't grab a bunch of linemen and be prepared for what that's like. I mean, there's normally a reason a guy's in the transfer portal. You'll get an occasional guy that's pretty good. But I think you look at Auburn and their young guys from a talent standpoint, that's where you're able to go, hey, we're going to go make an impact. And you've seen that. So I think it's close. I know what the numbers say. I still think Jalen Milroe is one of the most talented guys in the country. Now, he hasn't played that way all the time. I still think you look at that guy going, give me the top 5 most dangerous players at quarterback in the country. I still put him in one of those guys. So now you give me Jarquez Hunter and now Cam Coleman getting older and Malcolm Simmons, those guys. I'll put those guys up with just about anybody in terms of talent. And so I agree there. But I'm running through Alabama's defense, and I did a preview yesterday, and I went through 5-star, 5-star, 5-star,
right,
5-star. I think I counted 9 guys. I'm like, this is still a talented Alabama roster. Now, they haven't played all that way all the time, and there's not as many, but there's still a bunch of them. But, yeah, I think from a skill position standpoint, Auburn has helped to close the gap with those young guys, I think especially.
How much, in your estimation, does the nature and the outcome of Auburn's 4-overtime win over Texas A&M serve as kind of maybe lighting the candle for this program as a win that they had been crying for and needing for a while?
Yeah, I think it's just a positive reinforcement that you are doing some good things. Sometimes it takes that. You're like, hey, you're on the right track. And we've talked about it all year. I think this is a much better football team than it was a year ago. And the record doesn't show it. But I think it's a much better team. It's played better on both sides of the ball. You got better skill guys. But the record just hadn't shown it because of that. Really some state games early in the year, you missed a couple of kicks here or there. But I think if you line up, this is a team that's in a much better position than it was, a year ago and the last couple of years. And so I think it gives you some reinforcement that, look, hey, we are where we thought we were going to be. The record hadn't shown it yet. But I think confidence, you find a way to win. I think it was probably big in those things as much as any part of it. And you're right. Building a program, not building a team, it's another good step for them.
Yeah, good step, no doubt. I know this game, is the main focus on Saturday, but if Auburn wins the game, they will be bowl eligible. I'm just kind of curious what bowl they might be looking at.
Quite honestly, it's been so far out of the mind for me. I haven't even really looked at it to be quite honest yet. So, hey, they'll figure that out when and if it happens. But I mean, I would guess it would be one of the ones that you think about if you're a 6-6 team, and there's going to be a bunch of teams that are going to be packed in there together. And so, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that Birmingham would be an option. Maybe it could be, but I mean, we've seen teams go to, St. Pete, Tampa area for one of those types of bowls, something like that. Honestly, for this team, I don't think it'd really matter a whole lot for them where it would be. Even the older guys, they've talked about just going and doing it. And last year we saw a team that got to a bowl game and was like, I don't know if they really invested in being there. I think this is a team that would be invested just because it's a little different makeup.
When you settled in on Saturday, what do you expect?
I expect it to be really, really difficult. What we saw, I don't expect Auburn to run for 250 yards. I thought that was an anomaly a little bit. Now, they have given up some rushing yards at times this year, Alabama has. Also, what I expect to be really difficult is to get plays and make plays against Jalen Milroe. We saw Saturday that Texas A&M's offensive line is a big physical group, and Auburn did not impact Marcel Reed a whole lot. Alabama's offensive line is a big physical group. I don't know that Auburn's going to impact Jalen Milroe a whole lot. And so I think that's going to make this a tough game. And so you would expect that. That's the thing for me. It's so hard right now because Auburn doesn't – we've talked about all the dynamic guys you've got, and you got a Keldrick Falk, and you got other guys, but you don't have dynamic guys on the middle of the defensive line. So to get pressure, you're going to have to send 4 and 5 and 6. When you do that, you open yourselves up, and that's why people go like, why are they only rushing 3? Well, you either leave yourself really exposed, or you say, hey, look, we may give up 10 yards, but we're not giving up 70.
Right.
You have to pick your poison when you're not dynamic on the middle of the defensive front. That's still the next step for this roster, and continuing to bolster your offensive line. So I think that makes it a battle, but I think it will be. I think this team will go into the fourth quarter unless you turn the ball over. I think they'll go into the fourth quarter with a chance to kind of play themselves in it.
Yeah, and I think, Jason, if Auburn can jump out to a lead, Alabama's not shown that they're a team that can come back from a deficit. I know most of those were on the road, but I just have not been impressed with Alabama's ability to fight and scratch and claw their way back when they get behind.
Yeah, and mindset, you never really know. I do think it was important for Alabama's mindset that they're still sitting right there. When you talking about playoff and opportunities, you're still sitting there with a chance. And it's crazy to think about, and that's the world, because nobody really understood what 12 teams would look like and what it would take to get in there, because you would assume before the season starts, if you got 3 losses, you're done. It's over with. Well, it's not quite over with because everybody else has lost a bunch of games too.
Yeah.
So I think that was big. If you'd have shown up at 16 last night, then I think the mindset potentially could be a little different for Alabama. But it's still the Iron Bowl. They'll still be really invested in this game. But anytime you can get off to a good start is huge. And for this Auburn team, if you can continue the confidence and go, hey, yep, here we are. We're here again. I think that would be big.
I know we've asked you this early in the year, but here we go. We are 2 weeks away from National Signing Day. Is that right?
Yeah, honestly, it's Wednesday. It is a week from today.
It is a week from today. Yeah, a week. It is Wednesday. You're right.
Yeah.
It is. Do you like that? I mean, does that change any of the dynamics of National Signing Day significantly?
It doesn't for me. It does for coaches and these guys. I mean, there's some dynamics going into it. You look, first of all, is there's no in-home visits.
Right.
Those they're done. And I think it's a massive advantage to have a home game, 3 days before guys sign. I think that's a big deal. For Auburn, you'll have one every other year. And I think that's a big deal, trying to get a guy on campus for the last time, because that serves as your in-home visit, that last opportunity. The other thing is there's some guys in this state that will be playing a state championship game on the same day as signing day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you go, man, that's a lot. That's a lot to talk about and compress and try to move from one to the other and stay focused on a football game and that's a lot that goes into it. But because of the portal now and because of the craziness that comes with that, I think you have to get it done. I think you have to move it and compartmentalize one and get to the next instead of having everything going on at the same time. So in that regard, I think it's a good idea.
Well, Jason, I know it's a lot going on, a lot of basketball last night into the wee hours of the morning. Got another game this afternoon, the Iron Bowl on Saturday, and mixing Thanksgiving in as well. Have a wonderful and happy Thanksgiving, Jason. We really appreciate you being a part of what we do here on Longshore and McKnight, and look forward to touching base with you again next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Jason Caldwell at ITAT Jason on social media. He's with Auburn Undercover at auburnundercover.com. His latest is an opponent preview of Alabama for the Iron Bowl.
All right, Barry, when we come back, we're going to spin the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. I am loving the conversations going on the River Region Straw chat line. I mean, the questions, the comparisons, throwing in their 2 cents about what team has the better skill position players. And then, Barry, as you mentioned earlier in the week, the communication between all of our viewers and listeners as they're going at it amongst each other. I'm loving that and enjoying reading those as well.
Yeah, they've got their own little subculture out there, which is really, really cool. So, yeah, we got that going on. The topic wheel is next in conjunction with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Is there a certain Ford car, truck, or SUV that piques your interest, but you are not quite sure if it fits into your budget? Or perhaps you want to upgrade your current vehicle, but you absolutely refuse to deal with the same old aggressive and pushy song and dance that is found at the average car dealership? Then Stivers Ford is here to show you a better way. Their knowledgeable and courteous sales staff, the largest Ford inventory in Alabama, and of course, price. At Stivers Ford in Montgomery, price sells cars. 4000 Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway, or check out their inventory at stiversfordofmontgomery.com.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316. Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry is an Alabama-based, family-owned and operated business that specializes in dry cleaning and laundry, serving the River region since 1941. There are 12 convenient locations across the River region. Find one close to you or call 481-1911 for free pickup and delivery. For 83 years, Central Alabama has trusted Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry. You should too.
Alrighty, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us. About 10 minutes to the top of the hour. Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, will join us then. Just listening to that last commercial, Barry reminded me, number one child, not in the fact that she's, number one in terms of number one over all the other children. She just happens to be the oldest.
Chronologically.
She's the oldest. And she's coming in today. Looking forward to seeing her zipping in from the nation's capital, nonstop, direct from Reagan into MGM later this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to going out to the airport and picking her up for Thanksgiving. I know a lot of folks are traveling during this Thanksgiving holiday weekend. So be careful, stay safe out there as you go to meet loved ones and celebrate Thanksgiving. And we have so much to be thankful for. So be thinking about that tomorrow.
We are certainly thankful for each one of you. I always love it. We're going to be heading out to the Montgomery Regional Airport to be doing some shows. We've done it in the past, made appearances. John and I have public appearances out there. And it's always funny because people will pass by on their way into the terminal or to check in. It's really quick and easy, zip through security up there. And they'll walk by us and who are those guys?
Yeah.
Here we are in Montgomery. I'm headed back to DC. I'm headed back to Dallas. I'm going, how come we don't have anything like that where we are? And they've got these guys here in Montgomery.
Oh, yeah.
I got to talk to somebody about that. How do I listen to those guys? So.
Yeah, I love seeing the passengers going by us and looking at us. You can tell the people that are from out of town. They kind of look, and whatever, but it's great. So we'll be doing that next month. We'll give you more info about that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's get the Victorland 777 topic wheel out there, and let's see what's on it today. See how many topics that we.
Is there anything associated with a college football game?
Probably so.
Maybe so.
Probably so. But
okay,
we'll spin it
Gern, reach up, grab that little handle. It's a good
Big time
spin, Gurney.
spin.
He must have
Man,
had
look
that
at that.
extra
I love the color
bowl of
combination
cereal this
on the wheel.
morning. Okay. Yes.
3-loss college football playoff teams. 3-loss college football playoff teams.
3-loss
Yeah.
college football playoff team.
So we talked a little bit about Alabama as a 3-loss team. Can they make the college football playoff? I put a list of 3-loss teams together. Alabama being one of them. Ole Miss.
Alabama is the highest rated 3-loss team.
Yeah,
at number 13.
Kind of wondering about that, to tell you the truth. Alabama, Ole Miss, Illinois, Colorado, and Missouri are the highest rated 3-loss teams, and one more. South Carolina. Barry, to me, the Gamecocks are being overlooked. They are on a 5-game winning streak.
They are.
If they beat Clemson on Saturday, that's 6 in a row, and their worst loss was probably early October to Ole Miss. I want to say that was maybe a double-digit loss.
It was.
Their other losses were close. Why is nobody talking about the Gamecocks as a potential 3-loss team to make the playoff?
Because they got off to the slow start, and they value, they meaning the committee, they meaning the average fan, they value front runners. You know, if you lose 3 late or later, they kind of remember the good times at the beginning. If you lose 3 early, they write you off. And writing you off early reminded me a lot of my social life in high school, you know? When they wrote me off,
one more chance.
When they wrote me off as a freshman, you know, as a sophomore, they're like, oh, yeah, him. So that tends to be the case. I'm here to tell you, it ain't been smoke and mirrors with South Carolina.
No.
As a matter of fact, if their quarterback hadn't got hurt in the middle of the of one of the games, they'd be 9-2 right now. They were huge over Texas A&M. They've had some big wins, especially lately. Now, they're not going to make the playoff, but I'm telling you, Shane Beamer, maybe Sarkisian, those are the 2 guys who I think are the 2 people in conversation for SEC Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I think so too. And I remember saying before the season started, this is a big year for Shane Beamer. He's got to show up.
Yeah.
I remember listening to him at media days out in Dallas, and I'm thinking, man, I've heard this song and dance before. You know, I ain't buying it. I mean, you got to deliver. Talk is cheap, and he's delivered. I got to give him credit. You know, Alabama was in a scrap. South Carolina was able to pull away late, but I don't know. This team, if they beat Clemson and win 6 in a row to end the regular season,
9-3, yeah.
Why would they not be a 3-loss team that's eligible for the playoff? I mean, I've told you what I think about Alabama. I don't get it. Is it really just the script A? Is it really just because they're such a television ratings bonanza? Because let's face it, they've lost to 2
5-loss
teams basically, and they beat an LSU team that's not any good. I just don't get it. I don't see it.
I know that, you know, people are wasting column inches and stuff by saying, well, here's Alabama. Here's how Alabama can make the playoff. You know, if they, you know, these teams need to lose big. This team needs to win. And you know what you need to do to get the playoff? You didn't need to lose to Vanderbilt. Yeah. You needed to win at least one more of those games. You needed to. It's, you know, that's the easiest thing. I do think this, South Carolina at number 15, it's a small thing. South Carolina rated number 15, Ole Miss number 14. That should be flipped.
Yeah.
That should be flipped. So, you know, you look at the eye test for Ole Miss and the talent they've got. They're 8-3. I know they're not happy in Oxford, but what do? They had all their eggs in the 2024 basket, and they're 8-3. South Carolina, in my opinion, has had a better year. South Carolina lost to Ole Miss. I get that, but South Carolina is coming on now. Watch out for them. I'm totally
watch out
with
for the
you
Gamecocks
on that one.
Yes, I see on our chat room people are aware that Rodney Orr is on deck. He's on his way. Hey, okay, sometimes Rodney, we go a little long with Rodney. I mean, sometimes we do.
Like every time, which is okay. It's good content. We like that.
And Danny, I'm working on the makeup for the sheen, but it doesn't work. Yeah, you're going to get the dome glare. That's what do you do?
Well, what I love is Robbie saying, you guys don't have time for the fans. You got too much other stuff going on. Yeah. We read you guys all the time, right? I don't know.
Robbie?
Robbie wants to call in and let
Robbie's
us know about
chomping at the
Georgiana
bit
and
to call
Marbury and
in.
all that. So, yeah.
Robbie, just hold on. We'll just be patient. Be patient. That's all I'm going to say. Be patient.
Okay. All right. Well, that is our first live hour here on the show. We have talked a ton of basketball to good reason. There have been some terrific games. Alabama, Jason was talking about, you were talking to Jason about being groggy because they got so much stuff going on. How about this? Roger Hoover is doing the radio play-by-play for Alabama's participation out in Las Vegas. I love Roger Hoover. He's going to be a lead play-by-play guy for somebody sooner rather than later. Chris Stewart getting ready for the Iron Bowl. Andy Burcham's still out in Hawaii.
Oh, man.
And they got to be out in Hawaii today. You talk about groggy. He's going to get back tomorrow, Thursday, Thanksgiving. I don't know how much he's been able to prepare, but he's got to hop in, head to Tuscaloosa on Saturday.
So Barry, is Auburn's last game tonight, no matter what?
Yes, this is the championship game of the Maui Invitational.
So here's what if I had to bet on it, they're playing at 4:00 here. So that's like 11 in the morning out there.
Yeah.
If they're playing in Hawaii, they'll play the game. Usually the flights are overnight coming back to the mainland. I don't know if he sleeps well on a plane, but I've told this story many times before. An Ambien and 2 scotches before you take off, you'll be in Atlanta before you know it.
I always thought, if Longshore and I ever write a combined autobiography, which we were contracted to do one time.
Yeah,
you're going to call it Sandpaper and Silk or something like that. If he ever wrote his own autobiography, it'll be entitled An Ambien and 2 Scotches. The John Longshore story.
How to travel back to the mainland from Hawaii. Hey, let's take a quick timeout. I know Rodney Orr is in the green room ready to go with us. We're going to talk to the Tider Insider when we return, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market.
He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
The blowout at Marguerite's is on. Door busters. We got lab-grown 5-carat diamond bracelets, $16.50. Half-carat diamond stud earrings, lab-grown, $99. 1-carat diamonds, $4.99 in a 14-carat mounting. You got to be kidding me. Every single item in the store has a crazy whack-out price, and our inventory is better than ever. We're ready for Christmas, and you can lay away to Christmas Eve. Don't miss the blowout at Marguerite's. The early bird catches a diamond.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car, or maybe a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. Well, in Prattville, it's always a process that starts with the team of professionals from Stiver CDJR. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it's safe to say that Stiver's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But hey, just don't take my word for it. Experience the Stiver's difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stiver's CDJR, where price spells cars and trucks on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. Alrighty, welcome back in, everybody. Hour number 2 underway. Of course, Rodney Orr, the Title Insider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call ahead, 288-4272. Your order will be ready for pickup. They're open all day today. So if you need some oysters for that oyster casserole tomorrow for Thanksgiving, or you want some boiled shrimp there for a little appetizer before the meal starts, they got it all for you at the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Go by and see them today. Your family and friends will love what you serve from the Destin Connection tomorrow for Thanksgiving.
We love what Rodney Orr serves at TiderInsider.com. He joins us now on Longshore and McKnight. Okay, Rodney, we've been looking forward to this. Thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Well, thank you guys, and I'll go ahead now and say how much I appreciate you guys being on your program every week, and happy Thanksgiving to you guys and all of your thousands and hundreds of thousands of viewers.
I appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Let's cut to the chase. 24-3 in Norman last Saturday. Rodney, just a general broad question. What did you see?
What did I see? A disaster. Complete debacle. I mean, I'm just being honest with you guys, right? I mean, that's what you saw. That's what you saw too. I've been following Alabama football. The first game I watched was 1968, the Cotton Bowl against Texas A&M. I've never seen I'm not saying it's the worst prepared football team I've ever seen, but it's certainly it's right there. I haven't seen anything worse. And I say that now, maybe the coaches did their jobs and the players just didn't respond. I mean, I don't know what it is, but coaching, eventually it's about getting it out of the players. And with all that was on the line, the adversity that you've overcome this season, how could you have shown up and played like that against a 5-5 football team? And I'll tell you what's really baffling to me is, what did Oklahoma do offensively that was not, that allowed them to rush for 257 yards? They ran basic plays. Jackson Arnold he's a decent runner. He's not a great runner. He's a passer, even though he hasn't had great success throwing the football this year. He runs for 131 yards. The quarterback, he's not even Peyton Thorne. So I really don't understand that part of it. How could you not have? I would have stacked the line of scrimmage defensively, and I'd have said, okay, you're missing some receivers. We're going to believe in Damani Jackson and Zabian Brown and Malachi Moore and all of our guys. We're going to lock on, and we're going to stuff this run. And it would have been right off the bat. That's what I would have done. And you know what? I still, again, I do say this. Let's look at this too. It's still a 10-3 game in the third quarter. Defensively in the second half, you can't blame what happened. 2 Milroe picks back to back. That pretty much sealed the game.
Yeah, it did, Rodney. I'm with you. I've watched a lot of Alabama football in my day as well. I termed it pathetic. It's one of the most pathetic efforts I've ever seen. They did not look prepared. I'm with you there. With so much on the line. I mean, we talked about it last week. They got to get Missouri to win at least one of the next two. Missouri took care of business earlier in the day. All Alabama's got to do is win out. They're in the college football playoff. So now they're not. I don't see there's any path for them to get there. I'm going to be looking out to how this coaching staff not only gets this team ready to play physically Saturday, but mentally. I mean, if they mentally checked out because they're not going to the playoff, they're going to play in some crappy bowl game. There's probably going to be some opt-outs, got to deal with transfers, signing days coming up. I mean, there's a lot going on, not only the game Saturday, but the next couple of weeks that Kalen DeBoer and this staff better be on top of.
Yeah, it's a crucial time. There's no doubt about it. You put yourself in a bad position by that performance moving forward. In my Sunday thoughts, it was such a stunning performance that I held my Sunday thoughts till Monday to gather myself a little bit. And that was my question, John, at the very end. was what's Alabama's mindset? How do you get this mindset turned around from what we saw last Saturday and then the carryover that the impact's going to have of that? And I will say this, and I don't know how he gets them to respond, but I will say this. We've seen teams this year, Georgia, they got dominated by Ole Miss, right? 2 weeks later, now Georgia, they're set for the SEC championship game, and Ole Miss is left out of the playoffs because of their performance at Florida. And I only use that as an example because we've seen this with so many teams this year. Auburn's lost a lot of games that they probably should have won, right? Now they just had their best performance of the year. And if you kind of listen to the vibes out there, you would think they're headed to the playoffs. And I'm not belittling them,
I
but
understand.
they're excited about their performance.
Yeah.
Right? Against Texas A&M. And it was a tough win. Give them credit the way they won that game. Now they're really confident. They're smelling victory over Alabama. So, and it's just this season's been kind of a crazy season.
Well, with that in mind, then, we've been trying to gain a perspective on this, to pigeonhole Jalen Milroe's season. How would you describe it?
Well, I mean, it's a good question.
I love asking Rodney broad, general questions because I love him just, again, taking it and running with it rather than respond to a typical thing. Let him go with this because obviously, Rodney, that's been a real topic of conversation over the last good little while now.
My concern with Jalen Milroe started, obviously last year he had some growing pains, but they managed him really well. And I think now people are seeing just how impressive a job Nick Saban and Tommy Rees did with managing Jalen Milroe last year. My problem with it all started back after the season. Really, to me, Jalen Milroe went on a tour to promote his brand. And I thought that was dangerous. He appeared in front of every camera. He was at the draft. He showed up everywhere. Jalen, focus on getting better. Forget about all this stuff and focus on getting better. And you know what? When the season started and he had that game against Georgia, he was 27 of 33, 374 yards, I think it was, 2 touchdowns. That was a stunning performance. And I said, you know what? Maybe he's arrived. Maybe Jalen Milroe has just blossomed right in front of our eyes. And then, since then, do you know what his stats are?
Mm-mm.
He's thrown 5 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions.
Did not realize.
That's since the Georgia game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what has happened. I really don't. I mean, I will say this, and talking to people behind the scenes a lot, he's got a major confidence problem. He's rattled easily in terms of his confidence. If he gets off to a good start, gets into a rhythm, that's why I think you saw in the Missouri game, they really went to a bunch of short throws with him to get him into a rhythm, to build his confidence, get him off on a good start. If you do that, then he can be really good. But if he gets off to a bad start, you can almost tell within the first series which direction it's going.
John has mentioned that.
You could see that Saturday night.
Yeah.
I mean, the first 4 or 5 plays, you're going, this isn't starting out real well. Missed blocks, missed attempts at first downs, drop passes, whatnot. Rodney, after Milroe threw his 3rd interception and made that pathetic attempt at tackling the Oklahoma defender that ran it back for a touchdown, why didn't Kalen DeBoer have enough backbone to put Milroe on the bench and let Ty Simpson take over?
I thought with 8 minutes left, that was after the 8 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, when that play happened and he tried to trip the guy, which was kind of I mean, that added salt to the wound to me.
Sure. Yeah.
I have to say, look, if I'm Kalen DeBoer, what do I think? And I would just say, look, Jalen, here's the deal. You're going to sit down for at least a series, maybe two. We're going to put someone else in. And if he produces, we'll go from there. If he doesn't, just gather yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to say you're benched, you're losing your job, or you're out for the rest of the game. But I thought right there, John and Barry, that you had to make a move, put a guy in, and tell Ty, hey, Ty, look, you got a series or two. We're just going to try to settle Jalen down a little bit. But, he didn't decide to do that. And I do know, again, I'm going to go back to, and I know what your question is going to be after I say this, but I go back to what they're telling me on the inside. And they're saying that his confidence is very, very fragile. And so now you're going to ask me, well, how long do you have to kind of protect the player?
Yeah.
When does it come time to say, hey, man, you're getting paid $1.7 million or whatever you're making. You're a man now, and you're going to have to take it like a man and go sit on the bench for a little bit.
You want to build his confidence. You want to be able to support him and all that. But sooner or later, you got to make a decision for the best of the team, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, look, I'm not, I want you guys, and you guys know this. I'm big DeBoer. I love DeBoer.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a great coach. I really do. I think he's a fantastic coach. We're going to find out if he's a good fit for Alabama. We're over the period. It's going to start Saturday, and then we'll find out over the course of time, is he a good fit for Alabama? And I think that's been the question, all along. Has he been the fit? And he did everything. He made all the right moves. He did a tremendous job recruiting and saving that roster from last year. I mean, he did everything right. And you get into that first season, and you guys know this, it can be difficult. The first season can be really difficult. And you go back to Bill Curry in 1987, just his first year. Think about this. Second game of the year, they play Penn State at Penn State, the reigning, defending national champions. And they go up there and they dominate Penn State. And everybody's like, wow, maybe Bill Curry is the real deal, And then he comes back the next week and they lay a complete egg against Florida. Emmitt Smith ran up and down the field. That was Emmitt Smith's coming out party. I was there.
That. He ran 229 that game.
Then you get into, if you remember, in October of that year, they go to Memphis State. I was there at that one too. And they lose to a bad Memphis State team. Come back the next week, highly favored, top 5, top 7 Tennessee team in Legion Field. They win that game. They go to Baton Rouge and they beat a highly favored LSU team. And then the next week they get smoked by Notre Dame 37-6. So I say the ups and downs of the first year. And let's be honest, I know a lot of people don't like Curry. He's not looked at favorably among a lot of Alabama fans. But 2 years later, he did tie for an SEC championship and went to the Sugar Bowl. He had Alabama within striking distance of a national championship at one point. So I say all that to say the first year, and we could go through all these coaches, but we don't need to do that. But I'm just telling you, the first year, you have to give DeBoer some slack here.
Because Alabama's, he did a great job at Washington, good at Fresno State. We've seen other coaches come, after success, Franchione and all that. Alabama's different, Rodney.
Alabama's different.
It's a different set of challenges and circumstances and expectations, right?
It's different than any place. I mean, the expectations are unrealistic. Let's just be honest. I mean, you're going to have, it's just what's made it worse, and you knew it was coming. In the midst of all the success that Nick Saban was having, you knew one day it was coming. That's the greatest run in college football history. And that's what Alabama fans now have come to expect. And it's just not reasonable because guess what? Even if Kalen DeBoer is a great coach and, all of that, the game has changed now. The players have changed. It's not the same kind of environment, atmosphere, culture. The reason is, as you guys know, these players now, they're probably getting paid in high school. This NIL, they're coming out. They're seeing on some of these websites that their NIL valuation is $2 million. I mean, these are 16 and 17-year-old kids. And then they've got people around them who are eager to get their hand in the cookie jar, who are advising them very wrongly. It's just a mess right now. So it makes it, my point is, it makes it extremely hard to be a college football coach right now, head coach.
Rodney, what does Alabama do defensively? I mean, Deontay Lawson is out. I mean, he's the captain, the quarterback, the green dot on the helmet on that side of the ball. What are they going to do with in his absence?
Well, I'll say this too, and all due respect, that is a loss, no doubt. Signal caller, all of that. I will say this too, though, John and Barry. Oklahoma was running up and down the field before Deontay went out. So that's just a fact. So they got to do something. You're right. And I don't know how Alabama's going to stop Auburn's run game. And here's what makes it worse. I think Thorne's a better runner than Jackson Arnold, number one. You got Jarquez Hunter, who's as good a running back as Alabama's faced all year. He's an 1,100-plus yard rusher right now. He's a very talented guy. All right. So you got to deal with that. But also, Thorne's become much, much more consistent throwing the football over the last month. And Cam Coleman has become a huge weapon. He's had a big November. Haven't watched Auburn a ton, but what I've seen of them, he's become a huge weapon. And Lambert Smith, Keandre Lambert Smith, they've got weapons, man. If you're an Auburn fan, you have to be asking yourself, what happened earlier in the season?
Yeah.
You know, why? Because they've got the tools there offensively. And then on the defensive side, I think DJ Durkin's done a fantastic job. Mm-hmm. But you're asking, how do you stop them? Well, I don't know. They haven't been able to stop the run all year long, Alabama.
Rodney, I'll ask you, as I asked Barry, and I asked one of our previous guest, Jason Caldwell from Auburn Undercover, when it comes to skill position players, and you just reeled off a bunch of them, I think we can throw in Rolando Fairweather as well, the tight end.
Yeah, he's good.
But who's got better skill position players right now today, Auburn or Alabama?
I think where we are right now in the season, who's getting the most out of their skill people? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Who's getting the most? And part of that, I think, is, and again, I want to be clear. This is not. I mean, you just got to call it like you see it. Alabama, Thorne's playing really well. He's playing at a higher level. He's playing with more confidence, and Jalen Milroe is not. I think the problem is that the way defensive coordinators view Milroe is, if we can take away his legs and make him into a passer, we've got them where we want them. Not that he can't throw the ball. It's just the consistency of him throwing the ball. And you go back to what you were talking about, stopping Auburn just a minute. Here's the question, John and Barry. Now, this could be a big key for Alabama. Alabama's created a lot of turnovers in the last, month. They 10 in the last 4 games. Auburn has had a penchant for turning the ball over. Now, I don't think they did against Texas A&M, but if Auburn turns the ball over, then that could be certainly something that would be a major key for Alabama.
Always interesting, always compelling. And we love it when Rodney tells it like it is. It's excellent stuff. A few things to point out. When you go to TigerInsider.com, there's a couple of features I really like. Of course, there's interviews with the coaches, assistant coaches, some of the players, but a couple of things as well. A few thoughts on Alabama's NIL program supposedly lagging behind. There's some really, really insightful thoughts about that, and so much more available on the website. Rodney, how do people access it all?
Yeah, it's TigerInsider.com. and it's only $48 a year. And you can get instant access with your credit card if you prefer. There is an address there to send a check. Gives you all our premium information, Tighter Insider TV from last night with Gary Harris, myself, WVUA 23, Tuscaloosa. Yeah, that's there. Yeah, you can get the access immediately right now, $48 in our all sports forum. I'm telling you. Hey,
boy.
Listen to this. From last night, 35 pages of Tighter Insider were dedicated to basketball.
Love it.
Great win by Nate Oates, right?
Yeah.
And so 35 pages. So it's not just football.
Yes.
So I say all that to say this too, and let me say this: I did pick Alabama to win this Iron Bowl with all this negativity you heard from me. I picked Alabama 28-24, but you know what? Look, it's going to be a real challenge.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that at all. And Rodney, you can also hear our interview on Tighter Insider later today, maybe tomorrow when it's uploaded as well. So look for that as well at tighterinsider.com. If you missed it or want to hear it again or just got in on it late, you can check it out there at TI as well. So always be looking out for that.
Yep.
Rodney, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanks so much for adjusting your schedule this week. We'll be back to our normal Thursday next week, but we really appreciate your time and really appreciate you being a part of what we do here.
Hey, guys, as always, I appreciate it. And again, happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Thank you,
too,
Rodney.
buddy. Rodney Orr, the Tighter Insider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road, or call ahead. Your order will be ready for pickup, 288-4272. You still got time to get that, beautiful, just delicious boiled shrimp. They'll boil them up for you. They'll peel them. They'll devein them for you. All you got to do is put them on your table tomorrow during Thanksgiving, and your guests will absolutely love them. How about those fresh oysters for those oyster casseroles as part of your Thanksgiving lunch plans as well? They can handle it. The Destin Connection Seafood Market. Barry, one quick thing before we do go to a break. I know CJ Duncan's going to join us when we return. We're going to get back to the Victoryland 777 topic wheel as well today. But Rodney, as he was exiting, kind of mentioned NIL.
Yes.
And there was a story about it. Let me tell you, they're nervous. And Saturday afternoon can make them real nervous. NIL is an issue. It's an issue everywhere. But there's some people that aren't real happy in Tuscaloosa that are part of that NIL collective. And losing Saturday is going to make them even more unhappy. So, you're trying to divvy up money. You're trying to get that collective strong and building it up. Losing the game Saturday in which you're a double-digit favorite, not going to go over well.
Well, we always talk about NIL in terms of the student athletes, what's in it for them. A lot of these big hitters at a lot of these big schools who spend a lot of money, they've gotten their money because they're businessmen, right? Yeah. They expect a return on their investment. And if they're spending all this money for an 8-4 team, they're going to want to know, hey, what is the payoff for what we're investing in this program? It makes sense. We'll take a break right here. Looking forward to visiting with CJ Duncan on the other side. In proud conjunction with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Enjoy all the food, drink, fun, and winning at Victoryland. An elevated entertainment value, the best overall casino experience, and the highest jackpot payouts makes Victoryland the place to be. Go to Victoryland.com to find out more about their incredible giveaways, daily promotions, and free play opportunities. 777 Casino, Simulcast Thoroughbred, and Greyhound Racing are all within a short drive from anywhere in the Southeast. Victoryland, I-85, Exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. At Victoryland, you can be a winner too.
Welcome to the holidays. They're officially here. Time for tradition, family gatherings, meals, and the annual scramble of searching for those last-minute gifts. Speaking of gifts, this season Budweiser's got your back. Head to the store right now and look for our Thanksgiving week specials. Why go all over town looking for that perfect gift when Budweiser takes care of everyone in one convenient ice-cold package? When you stock up on Budweiser with our Thanksgiving week specials, you'll have plenty to share with your friends and family. They'll all appreciate that Budweiser's brewed the hard way and has been for 140 years. We use the finest barley, malt, and hops grown in Idaho and Germany. We don't take any shortcuts when we're brewing. That's our tradition. So make the most of your holidays. Stop by your local store now for our Thanksgiving week specials. Grab enough Budweiser for yourself, your friends, and your family. It's a new holiday tradition everyone can enjoy together. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Budweiser Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946. Okay, here we are back at it right at the bottom of the hour on this Wednesday. And Barry, we're welcoming in our friend CJ Duncan from Yellow Hammer News. CJ, man, good morning today. How you doing, my friend?
Good morning, guys. How are y'all doing?
We're doing really well, ready for Thanksgiving. I know you are as well. This is a great time of year because it all feels like every game means a little bit more. So I want to jump right into it. And I want to start with the Auburn-Texas A&M game. The 4 overtimes, Auburn gets a win that the program had been crying for really the entire tenure of Hugh Freeze. Can you put that one into perspective for us, CJ, the meaning of that and how it ended up the way it did?
You know what? I think it's a momentum game, not just for this year, but going into next year. I think the fan base and also the players need something to lean on, and they can lean on this game. Playing in Jordan-Hare late in the season when it's starting to get a little colder and it's a night game, it's just a tough place to play. You heard Coach Saban say that earlier in the week as well. It really is a tough place to play. I played during the day when we were in Jordan-Hare, but I've seen my brother play at night, and I've seen some wacky stuff happen in Alabama there at Jordan-Hare as well. And so you couldn't have started as hot as they started in that game. There was a little lull where A&M was able to get back to their running game, and the big guy Thomas on the outside had a couple exceptional touchdowns as well. But I think Auburn needed this just for morale purposes more than anything.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think they're riding into Tuscaloosa sky high. Big win, great atmosphere, a lot of electricity there at night at Jordan-Hare. And I think, Jarquez Hunter, Peyton Thorne played their best game of the season. So, yeah, they're playing really well. On the other side, though, CJ, how does Kalen DeBoer get this team ready to play? You got to think physically, you got to be ready, but mentally, I mean, this Alabama team's thinking college football playoff. That isn't going to happen anymore. So if I'm a coach at Alabama, I'm kind of worried about getting this team mentally ready to play.
I think you're exactly right. Especially in this day and age in football, it's hard to keep the guys focused anyway with so many outside distractions. But when there's nothing to play for in a sense, and you have a lot of guys who have the ability to go to the next level, you want to try to make sure that they're still focused on finishing this season out and not worried about the next level. You have a lot of guys that may start thinking about injury, wanting to save themselves so they can go start training or do whatever it is to get to that next level and make more money. So you have to emphasize how much this game means to the university. It is a rivalry game. It is a game that you can't take back. Everybody will remember it. So you have to go in with a sense of pride. As a man in this situation, regardless of what it's for, you should still want to put your best self on tape. And this is another opportunity to put it on tape. Like you said, against a team that is trending in the right direction. Auburn probably played their most balanced game that they've played all year. Peyton Thorne over 300 yards, and of course Jarquez Hunter. When you give him the ball, he produces. So it will be a tough game. I think the best thing for Alabama is that this game is not in Jordan-Hare.
Well, yeah, that's a big deal as well. We mentioned how sky high Auburn is, how they played their best game. Alabama, like John mentioned, boy, they've got to pick themselves up by the bootstraps. What surprised you, if anything, about the tone of the Oklahoma 24-3 win last week?
Oklahoma popped him in the mouth. There was not a sense of urgency at all. I don't know. I mean, they came out so slow. I don't know if it was the senior night. I don't know if it was cold or what it was, but Alabama to me came out very slow. They didn't set the tone. In a game like that, it doesn't matter which stadium it is. Most SEC stadiums that night, there's going to be a lot of momentum. There's going to be a lot of energy in the stadium. And as the away team, you have to be focused on stripping the life out of that stadium immediately. If you don't, the other team, they will feed off of the fans. They will feed off of the momentum in that stadium. And especially senior night, you got to expect those guys to play a little harder for their guys. So I think I was very shocked with just the sleepwalking kind of mentality. I mean, the interception on the screen pass that Milrow threw. I mean, he just kind of, halfway through it, kind of just turned his hips. He didn't turn his feet around, didn't turn his shoulders. He just kind of flicked it out there. To me, that's just kind of a lazy way to throw the ball. I think if you flip your shoulders, you kind of see that guy, right? Instead of forcing it in there. And then the receivers got to pick up the block as well. It goes around. There's blame to go around, really. Offensive line, they didn't come out like they did in the LSU game. I saw Booker, of all people, get put on his butt a few times.
Yeah.
And so that's where the tone is set, the physicality. That's why I say Oklahoma popped him in the mouth. And I was just shocked with so much on the line that Alabama allowed that to happen.
Not only was that pass attempt, look, it was half-assed. Let's just call it what it was.
It's exactly what it was.
So was that attempted tackle on the Oklahoma player that caught it and ran it back for a touchdown. What was that?
You got to explain that in the locker room. You do, because listen, as a guy that's in the trenches with you, we're putting our bodies on the line too. So, at least make a legitimate attempt at the tackle. Just throwing your foot out there, which is also a penalty. You can't trip in the game of football. So to make matters worse. So we got to do better there. If you're, and especially if it's your fault as well, you got to go and try to make that tackle.
What did you make of the outcome of the Ohio State-Indiana game? Was Indiana's lost one game all year? It was at Ohio State's place, and their schedule hasn't been great. Is that a disqualifier for Indiana for the playoff after that performance, or not, CJ?
You know what? I watched that game start to finish, and the score was not, in my opinion, not indicative of who Indiana is. I thought that game was played a lot closer than the score may have shown. They struggle in the pass game, and their quarterback had several turnovers in minus territory that set up Ohio State for quick, easy scores. And then, of course, you have the former Alabama safety have a punt return to kind of extend the game.
Right.
But I feel like I saw a lot of good things out of Indiana defensively. I think they're really tough in the run game as well. They've got some guys that can really play at a high level. But for this year, I think they're about a year or two away from being a legitimate, championship contender. They can compete, but I don't know they have the depth to really take it all the way.
Oregon has been number one in the college football playoff rankings for several weeks now. And I know we don't see a lot of Oregon football for a multitude of reasons, probably because it's so far out west. But from what we've seen, CJ, are they the best team in college football?
I think they're the undefeated team in college football. I don't know that they're the best. And, I'm a homer when it comes to the SEC. I just believe that we play a certain schedule that most cannot. And if you look at what has happened over the course of the last 2 or 3 weeks, the losses that we have suffered as a conference have all been road losses at night. It feels like, with the exception of Lane and the Ole Miss Rebels this weekend. So it's just a tough schedule. It's a tough season to have to go through, and you have to have a lot of depth to withstand a season like that. Oregon has a good team. They've got a lot of speed. They've got NFL players there, but I don't know that they've been tested the way that SEC programs have been tested. And so we'll see how they hold up.
I'm curious. I think our viewers are as well, CJ. It's rivalry weekend. Tell us a little bit about what it's like when Vanderbilt and Tennessee get together.
It's 0-0. Records don't matter. We go in there, and it is I can look back to when I was playing. You couldn't wear orange really throughout the season, but especially during this week, even if you were just coming from class, we've had Coach Franklin take shoes off a guy because they had a hint of orange in them. So it is a dead serious week. Everybody is laser focused. Not a whole lot of playing around. We go into whether it's Neyland or if we're at our stadium there in Nashville. I think we're first bank now, but we go into that game expecting to win, expecting to have to play very physical against our rivals. So it's an exciting week. I'm excited. I'm not even playing. I can't wait to see those guys suit up. I wish I could do it one more good time.
It's in Nashville this year. What do you think of the chances? What's necessary for the Commodores?
You know what? We have to dig deep right now. We are dealing with a situation where our depth is kind of showing. We are wearing out a bit. We started most of our games off pretty good, and then we kind of tire out getting into the third to fourth quarter. And so we're going to have to dig deep. I think we're going to have some amazing plays from Diego, where he just kind of has an out-of-body experience. And we've got to play very physical on defense. I think Tennessee, what gets them going is their run game. Their running back will probably be a top pick in the draft at some point. Really good player. So we have to play physical. If we take that away from them and make Nico throw the ball a little bit, we've seen he can be errant in his passes at times. If we can make him throw it, maybe we can steal some possessions from him.
Are we sleeping on South Carolina? They're on a 5-game winning streak. They got Clemson this week. If they win, they beat Clemson, which I certainly think is doable. 6 straight wins. Their only bad loss was 2 months ago against Ole Miss, double-digit loss. Why are we not talking about South Carolina being a 3-loss team that could possibly make the college football playoff?
You know what? I'm right there with you. They're the hottest team in the SEC right now. I think defensively they're playing very well. I think that their offense is starting to come together. They're not turning the ball over as much. And Rocket Sanders is just a load to tackle. And we saw that firsthand in Nashville. He had a field day, and we were as hot as we have ever been, So this is a team that holds the ball due to how they run the ball, and they play very physical on defense. They're playing fast, and they love their coach too. You can see his energy kind of coming out of them on the field. So they're a very tough team. I would love to see them get a chance, especially if they beat Clemson, a top team in the country as well. You love to see them get a chance. The more SEC teams in the playoff, the better, in my opinion. We'll show them what we're made of when we have a couple weeks of preparation, and let us get healthy a little bit,
Boy, this is always good stuff. Good content, as always, from Yellowhammer News, and provides a lot of content for them as well at yellowhammernews.com. CJ Duncan, man, it's great to talk with you from all of us, and I'm sure for our viewers as well. Very happy Thanksgiving to you. We're certainly grateful for your input.
And to all the Vols out there anchored down, we look forward to this weekend.
I love it. Awesome. Happy Thanksgiving, CJ. We'll talk next week, my friend.
Happy Thanksgiving. See y'all.
All right, great stuff, man. You got to know it. Anchor down. The Vols are coming to Nashville.
I got one trivia question here. We're going to hit the topic wheel. Trivia question out there. As John says, noodle over this.
Oh, okay.
Mack Brown is the all-time winningest coach in North Carolina history. And they have told him, it doesn't sound like a firing, because they've been really nice about it. I don't know what that feels like, but it didn't sound like a firing. Wow. But they've been
They've been super nice to him about it.
Yeah.
But he is no longer going to be the coach at the University of North Carolina.
True.
That leaves with his official firing. That leaves college football with just two active coaches who have won national championships.
Correct.
Just two. The easy question is, who are they?
Yeah.
We'll noodle over that. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Well, I thought we were going to a break.
No, maybe not. We'll
Maybe
keep
not.
it right here.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Heads or tails, kick or receive, with the wind or against the wind. Buy your friend a Bud Light. Buy a stranger a Bud Light. Go to your team's bar. Go to the opposing team's bar. Buy around during the next truck commercial. Buy around during the next talking duck commercial. If you're truly up for whatever this weekend, grab the perfect beer for whatever happens. Crisp, refreshing Bud Light. Make two plans and let the NFL coin toss make the call. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at River Bank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust. Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us here today on this Wednesday. I want to remind everybody, check us out on our Facebook page, Longshore and McKnight. You can check a lot of our content out there as well. Videos, things of the like will be posted each and every day. Also on Instagram, just search Longshore McKnight on Instagram and Facebook and follow what we've got going on. Barry, was he fired? I mean, I saw that earlier today. Mac Brown, North Carolina. I think we saw it coming.
He said the day before that he certainly looks forward to being back next year.
Yeah.
And the next day.
To me, the handwriting was on the wall, though. This team was not improving. Their defense was still terrible.
Well,
he's
they had that early
old.
on. They had he made kind of a faux pas, which he never does. He's always so great at representing the program. Remember early in the year when James Madison hung 70 on them in Chapel Hill?
Yep.
And he, after the game, he was all in his feelings and he said, look, maybe I need to just hang it up or something if I can't get this team to play harder than that. And he had to come back like the next day or the day after and say, hey, I didn't really mean hang it up. I was just, I'm sorry about that and everything.
Yep.
That was about the time when I thought, he's 73. He's the all-time winningest coach there. He's won a national championship at Texas. This might be the time.
Yeah, and I hate it that North Carolina or somebody, said he's getting fired. I mean, a guy that's had the success that he's had there, coached twice at North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what the behind-the-scenes deal was, and maybe he just, put his foot down and said, I am not leaving, and they didn't have any choice but to say, well, we're going to fire you.
Right.
I hope that it didn't get to that. Maybe it did, but it would have been a lot nicer if he'd have just said, yeah, I'm gonna step aside and be a consultant. That's always a nice label to put on these guys.
An assistant to the president or, something like that, or a fundraiser with an office still in the football building.
Maybe so.
With a annex office at the Torch 85. There's a lot of different ways.
Sure.
That you can frame that.
Maybe somebody up in Chapel Hill said, look, if we're going to join the SEC, our football program's got to get a lot better.
Well, if that's going to happen, everybody always asks, who's the next coach going to be? Who's the guy? I've got a couple thoughts, but I better
I'll
say
tell you a name I've heard and I've read it on national websites. He's in Tulane right now. He's in New Orleans.
I can't comment on that.
And,
you and I have
a lot of conversation about John Summerall in Chapel Hill.
He is the total package now.
Yeah.
Love Coach Summerall.
But I've heard Kentucky, that's really where he might want to end up. But
that's where he went. He went to school there. Was an assistant there, and Stoops they may frame him as a retirement. They may position it that way, but I do think that it's, that part isn't ever. I don't know about Coach Summerall, who I love, but I do think that that's probably in the offing. We mentioned this. There are basketball. There's plenty of it. Auburn will play for the championship of the Maui Invitational, 4:00 this afternoon on ESPN. Alabama and Rutgers play, 2 5-1 teams. That's at 9:00 tonight on TBS. So you've got some stuff you can watch, although we have told you about this ever since October the 5th. From October the 5th to now, there has been at least one football game to watch every night until tonight.
Not tonight.
None tonight,
which
I don't even really know why. I mean, there's a lot of people off and everything. Tonight is a great night.
I'm with you.
Why have college football a week ago Tuesday and not have it on Thanksgiving Eve?
Barry, years ago, when Auburn and Alabama had an off week before the Iron Bowl, remember that did happen.
Which I love.
There was 2 weeks. Between their last game in the Iron Bowl. Somebody out there said, you know what? Why not play the Iron Bowl on the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving? Sounded like a great thing to do, but nobody took me up on it.
Unlike just about everything else he said, that still hasn't happened. But there is plenty of football. 3 games on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
There's in the NFL, the Black Friday game on Prime. It's Black Friday deals on Prime, believe me. There's a lot of that going on Amazon Prime, so they're doing that on football as well. Tomorrow, Bears at Lions, Giants Cowboys, Dolphins at Packers. Friday, it's the Raiders at the Chiefs. Friday afternoon, that's 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that. And then all those games on Sunday. Rivalry week in football. Michigan, Ohio State, South Carolina, Clemson, Notre Dame, USC, Auburn, Alabama. The best game, the most impactful game of the weekend in college football is Saturday night on ABC, Texas and Texas A&M. Really,
okay. Wait for that one. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Some good chats. Tobias coming in good today. Drew, Brian, Chris the Bammer wants to know if the wheel got a flat. No. Yes, we will be on Friday. Yes, don't worry. We won't be tomorrow. We'll be at Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville on Friday.
Jason Jones says Sumrall isn't going to UNC. I get that. I know he's going to be mentioned for that. I know that his agent is going to play off of that, but I don't see that for him, although they'd be very smart. I do think he ends up very likely at Kentucky. So
I think it's interesting, Barry, that the national media has picked up on Sumrall. They know he's hot. And
who is certainly Chris Fallica or Fallica, the Bear.
The Bear, yeah.
Loves him some Sumrall. He, on this, he says, look, stuff will happen, things we don't know. And he says, but by gosh, I'm all in on John Sumrall.
Yeah, he must be covering a lot of spreads, which I think he is, actually. Did that
on those he was. Oh, yeah.
He covered a lot of spreads at Troy. Spin the wheel. I think we might have already touched on a couple of the topics, but Chris the Bammer is chomping at the bit to get the wheel, put some air back in that tire and get it going so we can spin the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Let's give it a go and see where it may land. And speaking of Troy, T-Roy, of course, Southern Miss coming into the vet on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's the final game of the year. Nothing afterwards to play for. Troy comes in looking for their fourth win of the year. Southern Miss has only won once, but there's so many things going on. The pregame concert by the Park Band at Tailgate Terrace, the big beer garden with plenty of Bud and Bud Light there. Trojan Walk at 10:45. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. Gates will open at 11:30. It's senior day. It's Judy Morgan Day at the vet, 15th anniversary of the 09 team. $2 beer specials, the Fanapalooza prize package, a whole lot as well. On Sunday, it's men's basketball against Eastern Kentucky and Trojan Arena. There's also basketball Friday night against Merrimack College, Friday afternoon against Merrimack. I'll have the ESPN Plus for that one. That's at 1 o'clock Friday afternoon as part of the Trojan Turkey tip-off. Football Saturday, basketball Sunday against Eastern Kentucky. That'll be at 2 o'clock. If you show your ticket stub from the Saturday football game, you get a general admission ticket to the men's basketball game. So there you go.
About that.
Man, all the information, tickets, and stuff available at TroyTrojans.com/tickets.
There you go. Hey, our buddy Mark says Sumrall 9-2 against the spread so far this year. Yeah, they're a covering machine. I can promise you that.
Do you remember Chris the Bammer brought this up? I remember when Tulane and LSU used to play every year.
Yeah, they did.
What happened to that? I don't know.
Tulane got smart and said we're getting tired of getting our brains beat out. I don't know if LSU wants any part of Tulane now.
Tulane's pretty sturdy. There's no doubt.
All right, Gern, spin the wheel. See what we got left here on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel on this Thursday. And we'll take an old spin and see where she lands here today. And it lands on...
Oh, we'll go...
It is pecan. Anybody that calls it a pecan is not from around here.
Yeah, I've always called it pecan. You can fudge a little bit and accent the first syllable. It can be pecan. I love a pecan.
Yeah.
That's the judges will accept that. But if you call it pecan,
It's like
there is such a thing as a pecan. Usually it's from Green Giant. No,
Yes.
it's not that. It's from Green Giant. You open it up, you've got those English peas in there. That's a pea.
Didn't we have a
where you
lieutenant
have
governor
peas.
that peed in a can? No, that was a jug. He peed in a jug during a legislative session here in the state of Alabama many years ago.
Fairly certain we could have gone the entire show without mentioning
You don't
that.
say pajama. It's pajama.
Yeah.
It's not
there's-
pajama.
There's plenty
Drives me
of
crazy.
that stuff. You don't
Yeah.
call the big thing where you store your clothes. It's not a chest of drawers. It's a chest of drawers.
It is a chest of drawer. Yeah, exactly. All right, Gern, let's spin it
yeah,
again.
one more.
That's a good one. Pecan
yeah.
or pecan. You can always tell when somebody's from not around here when they pronounce
love
it
me.
the wrong
Only
way.
time I dislike pecans. I do not like them except in a pie. So there we go.
All right, so here we go. pass. Thinking, whoa, what are you talking about? Some of those crappy passes that Jalen Milroe tried to throw last week? No. Barry, when it comes to Thanksgiving sides, what are the best and the worst? What are the ones that you're saying, hey, pass those over here? Where you say, nah, I'm going to take a pass.
Well, my wife Dee, who's an absolutely phenomenal cook, the stuff she makes a veg all casserole that's really, really good. She makes good stuffing and all that. But I'm not a sweet potato guy.
Yeah, not really.
Don't give me a sweet potato casserole. Don't serve those sweet potatoes with brown sugar and those little marshmallows. Gross.
Like a dessert.
John mentioned this, and I haven't had it in a little bit. Oyster casserole. One of our chatters said, I've never heard of that. I got to try that. Try it.
Very good.
You can mess it up.
Ooh.
I mean, it's a finicky recipe. You got to do it right. But when it's done right, oyster casserole is the bomb. Yes.
It is extremely good. Looking forward to having some tomorrow. Barry, I also like tomato aspic. I like aspic.
I've heard of that.
We always have it on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. I've had that before. It's been a long time.
Yep.
And it was, I remember it being pretty good. Yes.
It's pretty good. You put a little dollop of homemade mayonnaise on top. It's even better. Barry, what I don't like, I know this is going to throw some people a curve. I'm not a dressing guy. Maybe because so many times I've had dressing that's been dry, overcooked. So I'm not a big dressing guy. I'd rather have some other kind of starch instead of the dressing. And look, if you're going to give me some gravy for that turkey, you know what giblet gravy is? That means they put some liver in it. And I don't want any liver giblets in my gravy.
Giblet gravy? I said oyster casserole. I mean oyster stuffing. Oyster stuffing is the best. That's what I meant to say. But giblet gravy? Load me up. Give me the whole gravy boat and get out of the way. Love that stuff. No doubt.
Not a big fan of that. But everything else, we're good to go.
All this John Madden stuff about the turducken and fried turkeys and stuff. Just give me the turkey. Just roast that bad boy and put it out there like God intended.
And when you are getting ready and you're kicking off with that Detroit line game tomorrow, early 11:30. Let me tell you this. Just because they're playing tomorrow, you don't have to call local man up. Hey, man, we got to get a bet on this game. Well, a little small wager for funsy because it's Thanksgiving and tell local man happy Thanksgiving and lay $1 or $2 down on a game. Okay, big deal. But don't go overboard because you got games starting tomorrow all the way through Monday. Don't act like you're a kid in the candy store.
That's right.
You got to be selective.
Yeah. Ralph Michaels brought this up last Friday from the Gold Sheet. We asked him, hey, do you have an opinion on whatever game we asked him about?
Yeah.
He said, I really don't. He said, you don't have to bet every game. You don't have to have an opinion on every game. Words to the wise, people. Words to the wise.
And one other thing before we let you go, when you make that Bloody Mary tomorrow around lunchtime, getting ready for your crowd to show up, just pass on the celery stick. That, to me, that is the biggest waste of celery. Nobody likes celery. Nobody wants it in the drink. It takes up too much room. Bag the celery.
It takes up room that could be used for the alcohol. What is it you were saying?
For the Tito's.
Oh, yeah, for Tito's. Yeah. What is it you were saying to try the Bloody Mary with one time?
Put a little horseradish in it.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah. You put a little pinch of horseradish in there. Woo. Fantastic.
It's hair on your chest. Yeah. Well, we are truly, I'm speaking for John and Gurn Jr. and everybody. We are truly, truly thankful for each one of you. Our little enterprise here, our little show, which is well conceived and everything, thought out and everything, it has been received beautifully to this point. We couldn't ask for more. And it's all because of you guys. And we are absolutely thankful for you.
Very, very thankful. Very much so. Greatly appreciate it. Want everybody to have a wonderful Thanksgiving tomorrow with family and friends. And remember, we have a lot to be thankful for. So make sure that you're on top of that tomorrow as you sit down with your friends and family for Thanksgiving. We'll be back on Friday at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. That'll be the day before the Iron Bowl.
Here we go. Yep, there we go. We're looking forward to that. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In conjunction with Yellowhammer News, this is Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.